Hey, world builders, welcome back to Build Together. This is day 245. Today's prompt is: are there any notable diseases in your world that persist to this day despite significant effort to be rid of it? This comes from Pucbun the Great in the Discord and on TikTok. So I read about this flower that can come into existence in the case of a black storm over the Garabian archipelago. Most of the time, black storms bring with them very tumultuous occurrences. They strike the sand with this pale lightning that brings true monsters into existence that then will attempt to ravage the sands and the tribes of the Garavians there before moving out back into the ocean past the reef. However, sometimes there is a quiet, simple thing that it brings with it, which is the seed of a small flower. It will often find a spot in the sands of a Garavian tribe's island to take root, and it will grow into a singular flower with these light purple petals, and it will then release pollen into the air before dying. And it has no counterpart to pollinate, and so there is no more seeds that will be created, but that pollen will find its way into the sands or the life cycle of plants in the vicinity of the island and will eventually find its way into the body of a Girafgel. Now, the flower has no name. It doesn't really have much of a memory within the tribesmen because it is so rare in its occurrence and it is so slight in its occurrence that there is no connection to what I will describe to you in a second to the flower itself. Now, the pollen is so small that it hitches a ride on DNA and will find its way into the offspring of adult Girafgel because when it's in an adult, it actually has no effect. But when it takes part in the creation of new life when it is in a newborn, then you have a person who has Pucbun. And Pucbun is a birth defect disease caused by the pollen in this flower. This usually just causes pretty heavy birth defects. It does not cause any kind of brain uh, reduction or neurological development disorders. And so they come out relatively fully functioning in terms of the mind. However, their body is twisted and will likely be in agony for as long as they end up living. Now, the life cycle of people who suffer from Pucbun varies pretty substantially between cases, but most of them will live at least a couple of decades, and some of them live entirely full lives, but in pain and misery the whole time and incapable of doing things that many other people can do. Now, the Giragel do a lot of different ritualistic things to try to get rid of this, but the reason that no one has really found a way to get rid of this is that it can't even take root in actual Atovian soil. Out here, separated from the continent where Hormuz has his pact, it can take root on the Giragel sands. And so these tribal people are alone in taking care of this problem. Are there any notable diseases in your world that persist to this day, despite significant effort to be rid of it? Thanks for building together.